Hey guys, we are back with another Elite Coach Live, bringing you information, topics, and stuff that will help you become the coach that you were wanting to become every single week. So if you listen to us on Spotify, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, make sure that you do hit that subscribe button so you do not miss out on any of the information that we do share. Today, bit of a somber one, but also a bit of a celebration as well. So, due to the recent passing of Her Majesty the Queen, we've sort of changed our schedule kind of last minute. So, although it is a sad time, we thought we would use this time to really celebrate the life and take some of the lessons in leadership that she's passed on throughout the decades. So, I'm glad that Brendan, you're able to join us for this one, mate, because I think obviously leadership is a big part of what you do as well, mate. So first and foremost, though, mate, how are you doing?
I'm okay, Steve. Yeah, and I definitely was shocked yesterday. I'm sure everybody listening and coming across this and in general was as well. Not surprised at all because I think we've seen a little signs of that happening in the recent months, but shocked definitely. And to be honest, it rocked me actually yesterday. I won't kind of hide it from you. I was really, really upset actually. But I do think that, as you said, it's actually what a legacy really that and a contribution that she's made, and whichever way you cut it, and we're not going to get political,
No.
so on and so forth. I think it'd be difficult to not respect that contribution that she's made. And as you said, what can we learn from that as aspiring leaders, as business owners, as family men, women? How can you lead yourself more effectively? And this is a good opportunity to sort of dissect that a little bit, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I was coaching, and then at the end of the session, one of the guys who was coaching, and it was before I was jumping on the round table for the mentorship, when I found it, and then it was just all of a sudden she said it out loud, and it was her and a partner and myself, just this air of silence, and it was just like bizarre. And I think when you've had something that is so constant throughout your life, like the Queen has always been there, like
Yeah.
regardless of whatever situations going on or whatever it may be, there was the Queen was always there, that constant.
Yeah.
And I think that's what probably one of the biggest lessons from there, like for me, is that she was always there. It was that constant. She was always doing her duty to the sovereign. Now, if you're not a loyalist or any of that sort of stuff, like that's fine. If you don't like the monarchy, whatever it may be, but staying consistent and constant to your duty and your role, you cannot but nothing but respect for that, can you? She's done exactly what she said she would, and she stayed true to it for so much 70 odd years. Like incredible, isn't it?
It is. And 2 days ago, anointing the latest prime minister, literally 2 days, and you could tell there was challenges that she was facing. On that day, it was quite revealing. But I think the one thing that stands out to me about the Queen in terms of leadership is that, and she was very vocal in this, was that word, I'm here to serve you. And she was born into that family, and in a way it's easy to look at that and see the level of privilege and so on and so forth, but actually the work ethic of the woman and other people in the family too, and the work ethic comes from a commitment to an approach and to a cause. And you don't get work ethic. We talk about this a lot, Steve, don't we? When you don't have clarity and you don't have vision about what you're trying to achieve, you can forget about all the good habits, the bad habits. All of that stuff is irrelevant. If you don't have clarity and a clear vision, you will never put pen to paper, graft, put 12-hour shifts in, and so on and so forth. And so she was very, very clear in her vision of what she was here to do, and that was to serve the likes of us, everybody watching this, and commit and double down to that over 70 plus years. You know, it's amazing and that's the key point for me, is the servant. Because to me, you know, and come in with your thoughts in a second, and anybody watching as well, by all means, make a comment here. But to me, serving your population, whoever that is, whether you've got a PT business, whether you're running an education company, as I am, whether you are a CEO of a large corporate, or whether you're the Queen, the serving element is the foundational element. And that comes down to giving more, giving and giving and giving. If you, as a leader, are trying to get more and more and more, you're really on an eroding platform, and there's only an amount of time that will survive. You've got to give before you get, and you've got to really give unashamedly and consistently. And that's, I think, one of my core lessons here from when I reflect on the type of leader that the Queen was. What about you?
Yeah, I think that's it. I think, like, no matter how bad stuff was going on, I mean, if you're in power at such a, you know, all eyes on you kind of role like the Queen was for 70 odd years, there's going to be times when I bet there's like, I can't be bothered with this, you know. I bet there was days when she was tired and I didn't want to do it, but that just went out of the window. Like I say, the fact that she was just always there, knowing that she was the inspiration, she was there to give people hope. Like I say, she was there to serve, you know. And it's like, even as a young child, I mean, can you imagine it? So 10 years old, you find out that one day you will become Queen, do you know? So that's what happened. Her uncle abdicated and she found out she was going to be, from 10 years old, do you know? That's incredible. And then at 25, like, being chucked straight into the deep end from the sudden passing of her father, do you know? That is, like, just incredible. Chuck straight into the deep end, but just chucking yourself straight into, right, I'm here for you guys, you know. And you look at all of the key things that happened throughout history, the Second World War, etc., all the way through, even through COVID. She was always there to give people an example of how to carry themselves. I'm not talking about the riches and all of that sort of stuff, but you saw that sad picture of when she was there at Prince Philip's funeral by herself. She represented, and she was like, I am here with you. I am going through everything the same as what you guys are going through. She could have easily tore up and went, yeah, but I'm the Queen. I could, I'll screw COVID. We've seen other leaders do that, you know, but she was there to absolutely just say, I am one of you. And she did that every single step of the way with the messages. And I think it's that being, you know, she never put herself above anybody else. She just always met people where they're at. And I think that's a really important skill. For me, it's just because you're the leader doesn't mean that you are above everybody. You are just the captain of the ship. But meeting people where they're at and having that relationship and being able to speak to people is probably one of the key skills that I can look at, is regardless of how big you get, how successful you get, you can never lose sight of that trait, you know, of just being able to communicate and just endear yourself to people, you know, be likable.
I agree. Yeah.
You know, really is. Really
and people watching, just please do share your thoughts, share your comments, thoughts on the Queen in general, and also your thoughts on leadership and what you can pick up from this. This is the Elite Coach Live. We're always going to put that angle across. Good comment here from Heather. Trying to think of the words, but she took it so seriously. She was amazing. And I do agree with you, Steve. I think, you know, she was at the forefront. I saw pictures yesterday of her, like, not even in the compound of the palace, out in the streets, shaking hands and chatting to the common men and women, shall we say. And I think that's awesome. And again, another lesson: go to your people, go to where they are, meet them where they need to be met, as you said. And that's pretty awesome, really, isn't it? And I think for me, I think your view on leadership probably does change through the ages. You know, when I was a lot younger and I was starting out as an you sort of mirror and see things in people, and I was all about the energy and the kind of cracking the whip type of mentality when I was in my early 20s. And I do think energy is critical, and I think you can see energy right through with the Queen and with other great leaders that do really good things. But I think that ability to use your experience and to think as a leader and to deliver the right message based on understanding your population and with a genuine intent to serve and improve the people that you're working with, that actually overtakes energy massively.
Yeah.
And you can take a business forward, you can take a country forward, you can take anything forward when you really get into that thoughtful type of strategic and understanding people approach, as opposed to just let's go. You're a bit younger than me, Steve. I hate to say it, but what's your how's leadership evolved for you over the last 10 years of being in the field?
Yeah, I think early in the days you do go through that gung ho. I'm going to go all in. Just I'm going to treat everything. I am a hammer and everything is a nail type approach. You know, I'm just going to go all in and I'm just going to fight my way, because it's kind of the only way you know how. And it's not a bad thing. You know, it's probably good because you're going all in on it. You know, there's nothing. You're just like, right, let's go. You're not overthinking it. You're just doing it. And that's where you're getting the lessons. And I think this is where people start to struggle a little bit further down the line, is because they have a lot more feedback. They have a lot more data. So they start becoming a little bit more reserved. Whereas in the early days, there's no fear. It's like, no, this is the program that works. Let's do it. Do you know? And then all of a sudden you start to say, well, that doesn't always work. Well, what about this? Should I do that? What? And then you end up just getting stuck. Do you know? And I think the key thing for me is, you know, looking back what the Queen, she said she was bound by tradition. So tradition to the sovereign and everything else like that. So she grew up with tradition, and she had to learn how to adapt. They were her guiding principles. They were her core values. She was governed by tradition, but she learned over the years how to go around them, guided, but sometimes just think laterally, go left, do this, do that. There's loads of situations that if we look at the times with Charles getting remarried and all of these situations, and recently with Harry and stuff. And I think for me, it's looking at those things of those core principles of what you're trying to achieve. And again, goes back to your vision and your clarity. And it is just thinking laterally, but not too far away, not that scattergun approach. And I think for me over the years, that's what I wish I'd done it a lot sooner, of just said, what is my principles? What are my core values? Because I think it would have allowed my leadership skills to effectively develop a lot sooner, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but I think you don't know that. You can't force those things, can you? And
true.
Milestone events change and allow you to reflect on that as a leader and an inspiring leader. But I do think that one of the things that you see with the Queen and a comparative is, it would have been, how easy would it have been for her to have taken a life of immense privilege and not really done that much, and You know, she didn't have to be the queen, or she could have done 20 years or whatever and passed it on. And I think part of a reflection point for me is actually understanding and being grateful for what you've got as an entity, whether it's your family, whether it's your company, whether it's, you know, just in general your friends. You're still a leader, and also of yourself. And so being able to see and acknowledge and think, actually, this is bloody good. I'm lucky and fortunate to live in the United Kingdom, or, you know, to have the family, to have the business, to have the friends that I've got. Because you wrestle with that a lot and think, well, no, I want more. I want to go. Yeah, how easy would it be? It's not about the money for the Queen. The irony of this is that the money's there. You know, she's not trying to achieve more and more and more. It's like, no, you've already got that. You know, so why then? Why do what you're doing? And it is that clarity of purpose. And I think that when you see it in business, in the parallel in business, most people have what I would call like a cash out point, where they build equity month by month, day by day, year by year, and at some point they think, no, I've done enough. Maybe that's what we otherwise call retirement, and or your exit in business. You know, I've done enough. I want to, and actually, it's really difficult to consider I'm going to still be doing what I'm doing at 96, for example. But that is testament to the core just belief and commitment to the cause that she had, and that she was happy to push right to the very, very end. So what do we do with that? I suppose where I'm going with it is, what's your legacy building piece that you think, actually, I'm not saying everybody watching this needs to commit till 2 days before they are no longer with us, but I think if you can search to find something that's just a little bit bigger than where you currently are, and I appreciate the sensitivity around the current financial situation. I'm not saying don't worry about paying the bills and go and, you know, do something that's amazingly worthwhile and blah, blah, blah. But if you can just elevate the why, I think the bills will become easier to pay. Maybe not now, but certainly in the longer term. Do you see where I'm going with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think in this day and age, and especially with the current uncertainty, everybody's kind of looking for an out, or a safer option, if you will. And I think everybody's got an out. Everybody has got an out. Even the Queen did at some point. But when you get that level of purpose and that drive of just saying, no, I'm going to do this for 5 years, 10 years, whatever it may be. Once you make that, and I think it's holding yourself accountable with that, being able to go and look yourself in the mirror at the end of every day and say, have I done everything I possibly could in line with the commitment I've made? You know, you need to be able to honestly answer that. You know, it's either no. If it's a no, which is fine, some days you won't. If it's a no, what can I do tomorrow to make sure that I do? You know, and I think if you're constantly looking in that position of you are doing what you feel is the best with the skills that you've got, and you are constantly moving further forward with that level of commitment, it's not about 100 miles an hour every single day. It's about just moving forward with that level of commitment, and whatever it is that you've done, that thing that you've committed to will become stronger, you know, and that's proven in relationships, isn't it? You know, relationship with your partner, the relationship with your kids, the more you put in, the stronger that relationship is, right? So because you're showing that level of commitment, that level of dependency, the level of that, like, it just grows, because that's a basic human need. But if you do that with your business and your coaching, those relationships that you're building and people knowing that you are committed and will follow through with doing what you said you would, really stands the test of time. You know, you look at anybody who's succeeded over rough times over the years, they have been there, made that commitment. I use James Smith. James Smith, obviously a massive figure in the fitness industry. Some people love him, some people loathe him, but that's fine. But I always listen to what he says in terms of when he talks about for 4 years, my videos weren't really getting much views, weren't getting much interaction, but I made the commitment that I will show up and do what I feel is right for me, and I'm going to commit to this online space. And he never wavered. Like 4 years of videos that, whereas you see people do 12 weeks and go, that's not working. Do you know? And I think that's it. The people who commit and go all in and say, I believe in this, I'm going to fight for it every single step of the way. 9 times out of 10, these guys go on to succeed. It might not necessarily be the thing that they thought they were going to succeed in, but something else will pop up and it will take its place, you know? And I think that's definitely 100% true. And we can take that from the Queen. She could have abdicated the throne anytime she wanted. She could have left and went, you know what? I'm just going to shy away, go in the background and have a bit part role. I don't need money. You know, I'm set for life, etc. But no, she didn't. She said, I'm going to go right the way through to the end. And even she was advised not to meet Truss on Tuesday. She was advised not to by her doctors. She said, no, this is what I do. I'm staying true to the sovereign of what we do. And, you know, and that is commitment there. That is commitment. When everybody around you is saying, no, you don't need to do it. You don't need to do it. But she still did it. You can't get any more level of commitment than that for me.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And we talk a lot about what you're trying to build here, clarity, but I do think that you got to appreciate, you know, Rome wasn't built in a day, as they say, and neither will your business, or neither will your following, or neither will your legacy, because by default it's not a legacy if it was built in a day. And so how long are you in this thing for? You know, everybody wants quick results and overnight success, but how long are you actually in this game for? Are you ready to commit for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, and still be here after that time? And I think sometimes measuring yourself daily is not that good for your mental health. I appreciate it's good to have to track what you're doing and activities and, you know, show up every day, but actually measuring it daily can be demotivating as well, because you're going to have difficult days and backward days potentially, even if you're trying to not. So zooming out and looking at it monthly, quarterly, annually, and I look at it now and think, where am I? 2022, you know, I'm 17, 18 years into S&C and coaching and education, and that's a long time. I was a young man. I'm now not so young. Let's go from there. But it's nothing compared to 70 years and the legacy of someone like the Queen. So, you know, fascinating. Here's a question for you, Steve. For you then, what is leadership? What do you look for? Not necessarily yourself, perhaps you model it, but what do you look for in a good leader?
Leadership, I always go back to the old be the lighthouse, not the tugboat, you know. And I think for me that is what the leader is, somebody who shows you the way, shows you what you can and can't do, but doesn't necessarily doesn't drag you there. You know, the lighthouse just shows the way to stay away from crashing, right? You know, for me, that is what a leader does. They're there to kind of show the way, set the examples, show you how to achieve success, and challenges you to see how to think, not what to think. I think that is showing you the way, and that skill of teaching me how to think and not what to think is one of the biggest leadership skills and the biggest thing that I look for in a leader. Because ultimately nothing's ever permanent in this life, right? As we've seen, and it's one of the tragedies and beauties of life all at the same time. Nothing is permanent, but a good leader, somebody who teaches you how to think, that allows you to go on in no matter what areas. If that, for whatever reason, you don't stay at that same workplace, you don't work with that coach anymore, or whatever it may be, but if somebody's had an impact and taught you how to think, ultimately you're going to become better for that. Somebody who just tells you what to do and what to think day in and day out, for me, that isn't a good leader. Because what about when you take that thing away? Then what are you? You've just taken a step back. You're waiting for somebody to tell you what to do. So I think for me, that somebody who can show you the way, show you the path to success, not necessarily do it for you, but show you how to get there, make it a little bit easier to navigate, and somebody who can teach you how to think rather than what to think. I think those are the two qualities that I look for in a leader. I mean, I'll chuck that question back at yourself, mate, because obviously you've been led S&C education for a while, but obviously with that, you've had bosses over the years, you've been held accountable to different roles you've had in your life, and you still have mentors and masterminds to keep that role. So what is it that you look for if you're looking for like a mastermind or a coach or a mentor, if you will?
Yeah, I think that's good, the whole lighthouse tugboat analogy. And Maria making this point here, never recommend to weigh in daily. It's not the same. It's exactly the same with your clients, isn't it? Yeah, you got to measure it over time. Yeah, I think I agree with you. The only thing I'd say with the lighthouse tugboat analogy is, which I wholeheartedly agree with, I think that you have to be that places an onus on you to get it done. And because if somebody's showing you the way and shining the light, it's on you to run to that light and go and get what you want to get, or be who you want to be. And there is an awful lot of tugboat leadership. So there is a lot of people that are trying to push you into certain things, certain ways of living your life, and I think it can foster that kind of shepherd herding its sheep mentality. And for me, I am all about, where do you want to go? What do you want to do? Well, go and do it then. It's on you to do it. So I think if we can raise that, because the being the lighthouse, not the tugboat, means that we have to also have a code of, so it is on you then to do that. It's not on me. And I agree. And that's you see that with the Queen, and you see it with good leaders, is actually, and I believe in this, it's freedom. It's, you can do anything you want to do. You're not confined. You can be as big as you want to be, and you can be as small as you want to be, and you can be as broad and diverse as you want to be. But it is your choice. And we have to get away from that, the other side of that coin, which is, tell me what to do, and then if it doesn't work, I'm going to blame you. We see that in politics. We see it in all walks of society. It's like, no, we've got to break down that, because if good leadership is being a lighthouse, not a tugboat, good self-leadership is taking control and saying, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And now I'm going to go to find the people that will enable that and facilitate and show me how to achieve it. So I think that's a key learning for me, Steve, that, I want to be the light to help people and show people, but myself, I sometimes have to wrestle with, this is not as easy as I wanted it to be. It's not as easy as I wanted it to be, but that's on me. And as we've said it before many times, a fantastic quote, Jim Rohn, Never wish it was easier. Wish you were better, and make yourself better. And I think that has to be the crux of go and find the people who can show you the way and commit to making yourself better along the way. And then good stuff surely will happen off the back of that.
And I think the importance of that journey, I think sometimes like that approach from you, like a coach, mentor, and stuff might seem a bit harsh, and it might seem incredibly frustrating. If like, just tell me what I need to do now. Just tell me what I need to do, and it can seem it's the short term gain for long term pain, but in life, training, business, there's too many variables for somebody to know absolutely everything, how it applies to your situation. So that's where great leadership comes in, because we show you the path, but there's bits that you're going to have to learn to navigate yourself, because you need to apply it to your situation. We use S&C and the level 4 as a perfect example, because you get a lot of students going, how should I do this with my athlete? What's this? What's this? It seems a bit vague when it comes to talking about this. And it's like, it's because it has to be vague. Because if it's not vague, then how are you going to apply it to your situation? If we just arm you with one tool, then you will try and solve every problem with that tool.
Yes.
The principles of the level 4 and what we teach within SCE, it's about giving you the set of principles and give you enough bandwidth where you can pick up the points and mold it to your coaching philosophy and what it is that you do.
Yeah.
So at times it seems incredibly, just tell me the answer. No, because that won't serve you in the long term. That is not good leadership skills. If I give you the answers and spoon feed you, and I think this is the problem we have now, isn't it? Everything's at the drop of a hat. It's too easy to get things at times. So that makes it, when you can't get it, even more frustrating. But actually learning to get the answer for yourself and learning to make it happen is an important skill, because that's transferable, right?
It's the whole principles over preferences. Learn the rules before you break the rules. But also it's a real, that's where mentorship comes in, because things change over time, and the application of principles to different populations and people is something that needs to be reconsidered on a regular basis. And somebody who's walked the path before you in different realms can shine some light on that. They can't tell you what to do, because every human is different. Every scenario is different. But that is key. Having that mentor and having that person is a really, really important part of committing to getting better. And that mentor may not be the same mentor forever. You can move, and as long as they're serving you well, or when they're not serving you that as well, you move on to somebody or something else that does. And I'm not trying to use a mentor as a leader here, but the principles of that is where I'm going. I think, like, final point from me on this is, I think one of the big reasons that there has and will be such emotion associated with the Queen's death is actually because she was a leader to so many people, but also we are struggling for leadership at the moment. And I think something that dawned on me is actually, I think everybody needs a leader in some way. I think it's perfectly natural to look for leadership. It doesn't matter what position you're in, that never stops. So the question here is, who do you look to for leadership, and why, and what do you want to be reflected in yourself there? Because for me, that's really, really normal. It can get pretty lonely as a business owner. It can get pretty lonely as everybody will say it, pretty lonely as a father sometimes. You are as well. And so you look for leadership and for good examples to say, yes, I like that. That's working. I believe in that person. And I think that's one of the reasons here. And if where the emotion potentially is amplified because of the gulf in leadership, you could argue. But also, I think it is perfectly normal to look and want to be led a little bit. So if you're sitting here watching this and you're thinking, I'm one of those people, because I think I used to be like this. I used to like, no, I can do it on my own. I'm fine. I think that is backward thinking. Actually, I do think that a better way to think is to say, who do I need in my team, in my corner? And you're gonna have to know the person. You can look up and follow the person and see. You know, I've talked about people like Dana White before.
Yeah,
an amazing example of growing a company from scratch and belief and leadership in that way. I've never met the guy. Well, I've met him in the same. I haven't like had a conversation with him. I've seen him in the UFC backstage once, but you know, I don't know him. And but I can take those lessons that I see every press conference, every week, and so on and so forth. You know, that's my 2 cents anyway.
No, like you're saying, it sums it up really well, mate. You know, and I think ultimately, like say, biggest lessons that you can take, just study the Queen's life a little bit. You know, look what she's endured, look what she's gone through, and look how she's responded to that. And actually, she's owned up when she's made mistakes and she hasn't done things that she wish she'd handled better. But she's always been there. And you know, she had that commitment to the nation, and whenever she was needed, she was there. It was just as simple as that, you know. And I think that's a key thing now. Is at this moment in time, there's a lot of people who are going through uncertainty, not sure how to handle things. Will need leaders more than ever. So for you as coaches, I think now is more important than ever to actually stand up and be that leader, be the lighthouse, and show people how to get the most out of their health and their wellness and their athletic endeavors at a time when actually that's the only thing that's truly in their control. You know, they can't control what's happening with the current financial situations and stuff, but their health and their fitness and their mental well-being is something within their control. So if you can show that and be the leader for that, just through videos or blog posts or whatever content or conversations at drop-in mornings or whatever it is you're doing, go out there and do that. Because Denzel Washington said it perfectly. The most selfless thing you can do is be selfish. You know, by being that person that you want to become and focusing on yourself and being the extra, you actually help a lot more people. So I always take that on. It's like, right, okay, how do I be the best for me so then I can be the best for other people and serve people? So I think that's top and bottom of it, mate. I think that's my little summary there as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for that, Steve. And thanks everyone for tuning in. And let's stay positive now and in the coming months. Keep showing up and keep doing what you do, guys. And you can take it further than you think.
Absolutely, guys. Have a good one, guys. And like I said, we'll be back next week with another Elite Coach Live and some more great content, especially within the Elite Coach Network as well. There's some really cool things happening in there. So make sure that you are part of that network, because we've got some big plans going on in there in the coming months. So make sure, if you want to build that network and look for some additional leadership stuff, make sure that you do head over to the Elite Coach Network and make sure that you do join that, because there's some really cool stuff coming your way, guys. So have a good one, Brendan. Been a pleasure as always.
Nice to see you. Thanks for the comments, everybody. Have a great day.